never put much stock in confessions myself. The truth of the matter is people confess to all kinds of things.
I assure you, the procedure itself is perfectly safe. Quite simple, really.
Oh yeah, even things they've never even done. Sometimes especially things they've never even done. Oh yeah, I've seen it a million times.
There's no surgery involved, merely electrodes. Then a short, sharp shock, much like jump-starting a car.
Why? Who knows? Sometimes people just like to brag, to show off, make themselves feel important.
Except in this case, I jump-start patients with new memories.
I mean, as a rule, your criminal population doesn't have a lot of smarts.
Memory transplants. I believe this is the most exciting breakthrough in mental health since the development of psychotropic drugs.
Because logically, someone wouldn't confess to something they knew would get them into trouble, right?
Think of what this means. Now we can solve clinical depression just like that, without any medication whatsoever.
Especially if they've never really done it, right?
Yes, I know some consider this a boutique service, the mental health equivalent of cosmetic surgery, something only for the well-off.
But a lot of these guys aren't very logical.
But the critics don't see what I see. The hard cases, the sad cases, the cases where the patient has suffered some traumatic experience.
Some of them just like the attention. They don't really mind being locked up.
That's what led me to develop this procedure. And now post-traumatic stress syndrome will become a thing of the past.
Gives them kind of a secret thrill, I think.
Because now we can simply wipe the slate clean, replace those bad memories with happy ones, provided, of course, we have willing donors.
So that's why I never put much stock in confessions.
But I don't see a problem with that. People donate blood all the time, right?
So when I heard about this case, well, hell, I just figured the lady was nuts, you know?
And just how many sunsets does the average person need to remember anyway? Couldn't you spare just one?
Starved for attention?
There are occasionally some temporary side effects, but like I say, they should be temporary. Unbalanced, sometimes headache, nausea, a general feeling of disorientation.
Hormonal.
It takes a while for the brain to absorb its new memories. The subconscious has to work them into the master narrative of a person's life, sort of like a writer rewriting his script.
So what if she confessed? That doesn't mean squat. Probably wouldn't stand up in court anyways.
I generally recommend people take it easy for a few days, then those feelings will pass.
The thing is, the lady's story seemed to check out.
So yes, I suppose it is possible for someone who had just been through the procedure to experience the occasional nightmare.
Facts. That's what matters to me. Cold, hard, demonstrable, provable in-court facts.
But like I say, they should be temporary. Quite temporary.
And a dead body, well, there's your most provable fact of all.
Call the next case.
Your Honor, the People versus Lydia Thompson. Now, Your Honor, the evidence here is pretty straightforward, so I think we can keep this one pretty cut and dry. Ms. Thompson stands charged
Your Honor, if I may interject, this is a most unusual case.
I'll say it was unusual. I had never been in any trouble before, ever, and I don't want to be in trouble now. It's just, well, what would you do if you woke up in the middle of the night screaming? At first, I thought it was just a bad dream. A really bad dream. But it was so vivid, like it was real. Because it was real. It was real when it happened, and it was real now. It was real to me, and that was the problem.
You see, my client here has undergone a memory transplant, which means that the things she remembers are not necessarily things she has personally done.
Objection, there is no legal precedent for considering the origin of the defendant's memories. What matters is that we have a confession and a confession backed by evidence.
We have no precedent because there is no precedent. Not in medicine, and certainly not in law.
Counsel makes my point for me, Your Honor.
But the law must change to accommodate new realities. And the transplanting of memories from one person to another constitutes a pretty big new reality.
Objection sustained. We'll let the appeals court sort all that out. Let's just get on with what we've got at hand here. Continue with the evidence.
Ever since my divorce, I've been depressed. I guess I've been depressed before my divorce, too. My friends tried to cheer me up. Come on, let's go out drinking. Time to party.
Come on, let's go get a cup of coffee.
I tried both. Neither worked. We can go out and get just sloppy drunk. That'll take your mind off things. What do you say? There's a new club that's opened up downtown, and I hear it's hot. It just gave me more I wanted to forget.
You know, that reminds me. I was reading this magazine article.
It was Sabrina who brought it up. Sabrina was always reading things.
You might want to read it. There's this doctor, and he's developing this procedure.
Please, come in. Miss Thompson, is it? May I call you Lydia? That's a lovely name, Lydia. So, what is it that troubles you, Lydia? Are there specific memories you wish to be rid of? Specific ones you wish to acquire? We have a catalog here describing some of our more popular memories. But keep in mind, each one is quite distinct, so the sunset one donor remembers may be very different from the one another has contributed. One may be on a beach, another in the mountains. One may be in summer, one in winter. Memories are like snowflakes. No two are quite the same. And we have new memories being added to our inventory all the time. If there is a more unusual memory you're seeking, well, that may take some time to find. The more unusual or precise you're seeking, the more difficult it may be to acquire, and possibly more expensive. Perhaps this is a good time to talk about our memory donors. All of our donors come to us through a specialized screening program.
So, what do you think? Do you think you're going to do it? I'm really not the kind of person who's into fads and things. I'm really not.
I still think it'd be cheaper to go out drinking. That usually makes me forget lots of things.
But this seems, well, really very practical when you stop and think about it.
First, we'll isolate the memories you wish to dispose of. We'll simply overwrite them the way you might overwrite a file on a computer. Zip.
I mean, in the long run, it was cheaper than therapy.
Vodka's pretty cheap too, you know, and if you bat your eyelids the right way, you can usually get the guys to pay.
And a lot more effective.
The new memories simply replace the old. It's really that simple.
So, what do you think you're going to get? Vacations in Paris, a romance in Rome, or something more simple?
Like chocolate. I love chocolate. And I did want to make a clean break from the past. And this seemed as clean as they come.
And safe. Why, my own daughter here has had it done. Several times, in fact. Haven't you, Caitlin? It's cheaper than all those spring break vacations.
You could get memories of eating chocolate, and that way you remember it without actually eating it. So there wouldn't be any calories, just the taste, or rather, the memory of the taste.
It's okay, Caitlin. You can tell her. We'll be sure to erase that part later. Doctor-patient confidentiality, you understand.
So what the hell? I splurged. I was feeling down. I felt I deserved it. Some women go in for breast augmentations. I went in for memory augmentation.
First, we'll attach these electrodes.
Will this hurt?
Not hurt, exactly. Caitlin, why don't you describe it for her?
I don't really remember.
She's such a kidder. It's more like a sting.
I need you to hold still for me.
Like a mild electrical shock.
Ow! You need to hold still.
First, I want you to concentrate on the memories you wish to dispose of. I realize they may be painful for you, but I need you to gather them all together into one place. Can you do that for me?
Okay.
Let me know when they're all there, okay? I need them sharp and clear and in focus.
I need a baseline reading.
Caitlin here will be monitoring your brainwave activity.
Can I ask a question first?
Okay.
Where will my new memories be coming from?
Oh, those are quite confidential. Proprietary, you will understand.
Oh.
But I can assure you there'll be no identifying information. We go to great lengths to screen that out. Don't we, Caitlin?
Can you keep her focused so I can get a baseline reading?
So, shall we get started?
Okay, I guess.
Okay, now I need you to concentrate, okay?
Will you please tell the court how you came to meet the defendant, Miss Thompson?
Sure. I was working the graveyard shift when she walked into the precinct.
So she just showed up, out of the blue.
That's correct.
So she just walked in off the street and confessed, just like that.
Basically, yeah. She said she'd been having these dreams.
Objection. We can't be admitting dreams.
We're not admitting dreams, we're merely describing the situation that led to the defendant's confession.
So, how do you feel?
A little clumsy.
That's to be expected.
Here, let me help you into recovery.
Best to take it easy and stay off your feet for a few days.
Well, I feel kind of lightheaded.
Oh, did I mention the euphoria? You may experience some giddiness, the occasional flashes of
Oh,
some...
I feel like I'm flying.
Please, let's just get you into recovery.
So, how was it? Did it hurt, and how do you feel? Are you okay to talk about it?
So what did they give you? We want to hear all about it, every little detail.
So things before, can you, still remember them?
What things before?
Woohoo! So it worked?
It worked? Oh God, it worked! All those bad memories from my marriage, gone. It was like I didn't even know they had ever existed. I barely knew my marriage existed. If I hadn't kept the paperwork, I don't think I would have known. It was great. It was really great. In fact, it was better than great. It was like, I don't know, like there was a whole new me. That sounds so cliche, but it was true. Whereas before I used to think about, I don't remember what I used to think about. I just remember I get really depressed. But now I had all these new memories to cheer me up. Sometimes it was just a general feeling, something light, airy, bouncy, happy times. Sometimes it was something specific, like a surprise birthday party, or a new kitten, or a walk on the beach at Cancun. And I had never been to Cancun before in my life, but now I had. And oh God, it was so wonderful. But then the dream started. At first I thought it was just, part of what the doctor called the settling process.
It may take a while for the new memories to fully incorporate themselves.
Sort of like a new house settling.
There may be some things that you can't fully understand or can't make sense of, but they'll pass as they slowly make their way into place.
But instead of fading, the dreams became clearer, more focused, more real. The dreams became nightmares. And that's when I saw him.
She said she knew about a murder.
Oh, God. Oh, dear God.
Not every day a woman walks in off the street and says she knows about a murder, right? So the desk sergeant sends her up to me.
Your Honor, could I ask for a brief recess so my client can compose herself?
Oh, God, please answer. Please answer.
Technically, what you described wasn't a murder, but it was still a homicide.
Objection, the witness is stating a conclusion.
Sustained. Just describe what happened.
Hello? Molly, is that you?
Who's this?
This is Lydia. I need to talk to someone. Are you awake?
I am now.
I would have called Sabrina, but I figured she'd have been asleep.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning, Lydia. We're all asleep.
Oh yes, I remember it vividly. The phone rang and it was Lydia, and she was crying and I couldn't make out what she was saying.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Naturally, I went straight there. So did Molly.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God.
What is it? What's wrong? Lydia, talk to me. Just talk to me. Just take a deep breath and talk to me.
What's wrong? I saw him. I don't know who he is, but I killed him. I know I did. Oh, God, I killed him.
Who? Who are you talking about?
What happened? Just tell us what happened. In my head, I saw it all.
It's only a dream, Lydia. You had a bad dream, that's all.
No, it wasn't a dream. It wasn't like that. It was real.
It's probably just one of those after effects the doctor told you about.
No, I was there. I know it.
How do you know it?
Because I remember it.
Once again, we see how this whole case turns on my client's memories, which have demonstrably been altered.
The defendant's memory doesn't change the fact that there's physical evidence of a crime.
But there is not one shred of evidence linking that evidence to my client, except for her own confession, which may very well be the product of someone else's experiences altogether.
Your Honor, I have seen cases turn on confessions. I have seen cases turn on the evidence. Here we have both a confession and evidence. A confession which led to the discovery of the very evidence. A confession that contains details only the killer would know. If we're to start throwing that out, we may as well throw out evidence that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Maybe we've simply been remembering that wrong all these years.
Order! Order! Will counsel stick to the facts at hand?
Well, the fact is, the defendant has confessed, as you'll see in the transcript.
It was nighttime, and I was driving. I don't remember where or why. I just remember it was dark. It was so dark, and that's when I saw him. This kid. It's like he just appeared out of nowhere, right in front of the car, like he had just run out into the road.
It's only a dream, Lydia. It's only a dream.
I couldn't stop. I didn't stop, and I hit him. Just like that, I hit him.
It's okay, Lydia. It's okay. None of this is real.
You don't understand. It was real. It is real because I stopped, and there he was, this kid. He was lying there in the street, and he was dead. He was dead because I killed him.
Trust me, it's just your biological clock ticking. Whenever I hear that, I just hit the snooze alarm and go back to sleep, you know?
It's not my biological clock.
Well, who knows what's buried down in your subconscious?
Don't say buried.
Okay, poor choice of words.
Because I buried him. I did. I panicked, oh God.
You don't have to talk about it, Lydia.
No, I need to talk about it. I need to get it off my chest, but oh God, the more I talk about it, the more real it becomes. It's all coming back to me now. It's like a flood. It was the middle of the night. No, it was only 8. But it was dark. I remember that. It was so very dark. It was on the street with no lights, and it was Halloween. Yes, it was Halloween, and what was this kid doing by himself on Halloween anyway, without any adults or parents or anything? But I saw his face. Oh God, he had this perfect face, and maybe it was just the headlights. He was just like a flash. I remember him running, and the sound. Oh God, the sound, it's in my head. I can't get it out. I can still hear the sound. It's just, it wasn't a big sound. It was just a little sound, almost a soft sound, like a pop. But I knew. Oh God, I knew. I stopped. He was there by the side of the road. I remember he was all tangled up in his costume, and it was black. It was all black, like he was a zombie or a bat or a superhero with a cape. God, I don't know what he was, but he was,
The lady was hysterical. It took me the longest time to get her calmed down enough to make any sense out of what she was saying.
He was dead! He was dead and I killed him!
Finally, she started describing driving down this dark road at night and this kid jumping out in front of her.
I must have broken his neck because it was turned around at this crazy angle and there was just this little trickle of blood out of his mouth. That's all the blood there was. At first I thought it was part of his costume. Oh God, no, it was his.
Then she mentioned something about Halloween and that rang a bell.
Jesus, I'm looking around and there's still nobody there. No adults, no kids, no nothing. Where is everybody? Oh God, where is everybody?
Because there was this famous case about 10 years ago that goes missing on Halloween night.
I don't know what came over me. I guess I panicked. I was drinking. I must have been drinking. I think I drank a lot in those days. I seem to remember drinking a lot.
Just disappears without a trace. He'd gotten separated from his group and, well, nobody knew what became of him.
Anyway, I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking. I'm just doing. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm putting him in the car. Like I said, I panicked. I opened the trunk and I put him in and oh God, I drove off with the kid in the trunk. I don't know why. I just did. I was all messed up and I wasn't thinking straight. I just wanted to hide. I wanted it to all go away.
We found his bag of candy down the corner of Rosedale and Fairview, scattered all to hell. But that's all we ever found. No blood, no footprints, no nothing.
Now, Doctor, you've previously testified that memory transplants only transfer very specific memories. Is that correct?
We always figured it for an abduction case, you know, one of those predator types.
That's correct. We're not talking about the ability to wipe out, say, the entire recollection of someone's unhappy childhood. Instead, we're talking about discrete, specific memories that we can extract and move from one individual to another.
We called in the state police, the FBI, you name it. We did a complete psychological workup, trying to figure out what type of person might have done this.
Now tell me, Doctor, is it possible that when you, as you say, extract a memory that you wish to transfer, that you also extract a memory that you don't want?
We called in all the local sex offenders, verified their whereabouts on the night in question. It was a hot case for a while.
I'm just asking if it's possible.
But then this lady says she ran over the kid. Well, that's a new one. Of course, it could be bump. She seemed, I don't know, kind of flighty and agitated, definitely agitated. Like she was hallucinating. Seen a lot of junkies like that.
Perhaps not even a memory you're aware you're extracting. Perhaps it's a memory the donor has repressed and forgotten about. Would you say that's possible?
But then she mentioned where she buried the body, and that really got my attention.
But that's impossible. No way.
Because that's something you could go check out.
You weren't even living here 10 years ago, for one thing.
You're asking me to prove a negative, sir. You're asking me to prove if it's possible that something exists that I can't prove exists.
Your Honor, would you order the witness to answer the question?
Your Honor, none of this is relevant.
Counsel will restate the question.
And I've never known you to be a drinker, and believe me, I know a drinker when I see one.
Is it possible that you accidentally transferred a memory of a crime to the defendant?
If it's really a repressed memory, we couldn't transfer it. The donor has to be fully conscious of the memory before we can capture it and transfer it electromagnetically to the recipient.
So you're saying what? It is possible or impossible to transfer a repressed memory?
Objection, counsel is badgering the witness.
I bet you could prove you weren't there that night. Credit card receipts, phone records, ATM records, there's all sorts of ways to document where you were.
Restate the question.
Did you or did you not transfer a memory of this crime to my client?
Of course not! And you'll see that my records clearly indicate the type of memories that were involved in the procedure. All quite routine, really.
I remember being out in the woods. It was way out in the country somewhere. I don't remember where. I just remember it was down this road, this dark road.
At first she started off kind of vague, but then she started getting more specific.
I just remember driving and driving, not sure where I was going. But then there was this place. I don't know how I knew this place, but I did. I do. It was way back in the woods, and there was like a place to park, and beer bottles everywhere, and this big rock. I remember this huge rock.
Old logging road down by the county line. Kids go parking there all the time. You can always tell who's been there by who's painted their names on the rock. Stupid kids.
The ground was wet. It had just rained. I remember the ground was so soft that it sucked in my shoes. And the more I tried to get them back on, the more I just dug myself into the ground. Oh God, it was a mess. Mud everywhere.
Of course, she could have just made that part up. The weather records, gotten it from an old newspaper or something, probably available online if you know where to look.
I went as far as I could go back in the woods. And then I just started digging. With my bare hands, the ground was that soft. I just started digging and digging like an animal, a wild animal.
But that parking spot, you could search that. It might be a wild goose chase, but you could do it.
When I couldn't dig anymore, I looked around and found this old tailpipe, some kind of long metal thing that must have fallen off someone's car. And I used that, like a scoop.
Grave sites usually show up after a while. They're shallow, they're not well packed, the ground sinks in, gives itself away.
And I buried him. Just like that. I buried him. I wrapped him up in his little costume, his cape, and I covered him up. And when I ran out of dirt, I put in sticks and leaves and... Oh God, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did any of that.
I figured, what the hell, it's worth a shot. We've done crazier things. With a case like that, you don't want to leave any stone unturned, so to speak. The next day, we had most of the 2nd platoon out doing the foot search. Of course, we got a search warrant first, mind you.
Oh God, what have I done? What have I done?
Found it just like that.
I'm guilty. I'm so guilty. This is crazy.
I guess it's possible you were so drunk you blacked out completely. I've done that before.
Molly!
I'm just saying it's possible. These aren't your memories. These are somebody else's memories. They can't convict you for somebody else's memories.
But you don't understand. They're my memories now.
But you didn't do this. You couldn't have done
But
it.
it's in my head now. It is me now.
Caitlin!
What?
You know what?
I'm sorry, I don't remember. Look, you want my advice, just go get wasted drunk. It'll blank out everything. Trust me, it'll blank out everything. I've done it 1,000 times, or maybe more. I can't even remember.
Your Honor, could I ask for a brief recess?
Granted, court stands adjourned for 15 minutes.
That doctor, you need to go back to that doctor.
What the hell are you trying to pull here?
What are you talking about?
No, that won't do any good.
He can do something.
Do what?
Take it back, erase it, I don't know.
You know good and well she didn't do it. She couldn't have.
Fine, then prove it.
And what good would that do?
It'll take your mind off things, that's for sure.
Since when does the defendant have to prove her innocence? That's crazy.
But that'd be like, I don't know, like avoiding the issue.
Last time I checked, you haven't been able to produce a single alibi for your client. No bank records, no credit card statement, nothing.
What issue?
So she didn't spend anything that day. Is that a crime?
Lydia, it's not your issue.
No, but a fatal hit and run is, and I have a confession and a body. What do you have?
That's easy for you to say. You don't have it in your head every night, clawing at you, trying to get out through your eyeballs, pounding at your temples, trying to escape.
Let it escape! Give it back, for God's sake!
How the hell did that happen?
How did what happen?
Hey, it's not your problem, Lydia. Don't worry about it.
But you know that's somebody else's confession. You know that!
But you don't understand. It is my problem, and if I get rid of it, where'll it go? Just out in the ether?
That's a novel argument. Maybe you can submit it to a law journal and see what they think. For now, it's not one the judges bind, though.
I don't know. Maybe ether's good me. I just forget about things. Why can't you?
Now, if you'll excuse me, I think our recess is just about over.
That poor boy. He'd still be dead, and no one would know. No one would know what happened or where he was.
I thought you had taken care of your problem.
It kept coming back. Court is now back in session. Counsel, I believe you have the witness on cross.
So you gave it away. Jesus, why didn't you let me try and fix it again?
No questions, Your Honor.
I didn't mean to. It just happened. You could write it down before you go back to the doctor, and then someone would know, but you wouldn't have to.
Jesus, Caitlin, see if I let you try and be a donor again.
But you don't understand. I feel guilty. In my head, I am guilty.
Don't worry, it's all gone now.
I have a conscience. I have to confess.
Your Honor, I rest my case.
I think. What is it? What's wrong? Don't think about it. It's not you, Lydia. It's not you. It's all in your head. Think about something else. Just put it out of your mind.
Will the defendant please rise?
Oh, Jesus, is it back again?
What can we do? Think about something else. Just think about something else.
I thought we'd had it all taken out. Why does this keep happening?
This court finds the defendant, Lydia Thompson, guilty as charged.
What are you seeing? I need to know how much more there is. I can't help you if you can't tell me how much more you remember.
I hereby sentence you to the maximum